Hi class, ready for the next round of Wishtree Read Aloud. We're on chapter 11. That is page 37. I'm dressed as the sheriff in my house today, known as Woody. New sheriff in town. Gotta have the hat on. So Woody will be reading you Wishtree today. Enjoy. Yesterday we left off with Red, the tree, talking about how after Samar's wish for a new friend, that maybe he had finally witnessed too much and something happened. We don't know what that is. So let's find out. So I'm on chapter 11, page 37. The morning was budding and I was waiting for warmth. Down the street, a lanky boy was lingering near a stop sign. Head down, he was hunched over like a wind-blown weed. In his right hand was something shiny. A tool, maybe, or a pen. He was smiling just a bit as if he told himself a joke only he perhaps understood. All day long I see people lost in thought, talking to themselves, grinning, frowning. He was nothing out of the ordinary. I was in the midst of a conversation with Bongo, who had just pointed out to me that I was a year older. 216 rings old, to be precise. Another sprout day, I said. I still feel like a sapling. You don't look like a day over 150, Bongo replied. Best looking tree on the block. I paused for comic effect, getting up there. Bongo, who was perched on my lowest branch, sighed. A crow sigh is unmistakable, like a groan from a tiny, cranky old man. Tree humor, I explained, just in case Bongo hadn't missed it. Although, of course, she hadn't. Bongo misses nothing, because I'm so tall. Really, Red? Bongo stretched, admiring her lustrous blue-black wings. That's the best you got for me this morning? Maybe you'd appreciate my joke more if you weren't so sensitive about your stature, I teased. Corvids don't give a flying tail feather about height, Bongo said. Smarts, wills, trickery, cunning, that's what counts in our neck of the woods. Corvids is a fancy name for birds like crows, ravens, jays, and magpies. Bongo says she's too classy for a label as common as crow. A soft wind tickled my branches. Spring, that old rascal, was teasing up with some promise of warmer days. The truth is, I said, it doesn't matter what size you are, Bongo. We grow up as we must grow, as our seeds decided long ago. Red, way too early in the morning for the wise old tree routine, Bongo gave me a gentle peck. Although you're right, it doesn't matter how tall you are. In a fluttery blur, she sailed onto a telephone pole far above my leafy canopy. Not when you can fly, pal. At almost the same moment, Samar and the boy who lived in the green house, Stephen, stepped onto their porches. Both had backpacks. Both looked eager to greet the day. Their eyes met. Stephen nodded just a flicker, and Samar nodded back. Not a hello, exactly, just an acknowledgement. Stephen ran off toward the elementary school down the street, but Samar hesitated. Hello, she called softly. Right on cue, Bongo replied, hello, as she did every morning, sounding just like Samar. Bongo can also do a passable tuba, an impressive chihuahua, and a fine police siren. Samar looked up at Bongo, grinned, and headed towards school. With that, Bongo let loose a hoarse and gleeful caw and set off to wait for children to arrive at school. She was a regular there. Everybody knew her. She enjoyed annoying the children, and they enjoyed letting her annoy them. I told you you'd like Bongo. She's a cool character. Bongo especially liked to untie shoelaces. While the children were busy retying them, she would snatch treats from their lunch bags. Every now and then, she would even make a polite request. She could say, Chip, please, no way, and you rock, when it served her purposes. Watching Bongo soar, I considered not for the first time my rambling roots. What would it be like to fly, to burrow, to swim, to gallop? Delightful, no doubt. Sheer joy, and yet I wouldn't trade a single rootlet for any of it. It is a great gift indeed to love who you are. Here's Bongo. I like how she annoys all the children, but they like it. They just let her do it. Chapter 12. By this time, the lanky boy had walked past me, swiveled, and returned. Uh-oh. Glancing over his shoulder, he stepped onto the brown lawn that blanketed my roots. The air changed, quivering the way it will when people are near with chemicals, with pulsing heat, with humanness. And then it happened. Uh-oh. He dug into my trunk with an object in his hand. Fast, deliberate. Again he checked his surroundings. An elderly woman crossing the street smiled at him and shook her head. She's probably thinking, how sweet. I bet he's carving a heart with initials in it. Oh, to be young and in love. People are under the impression that trees don't mind being carved into, especially if hearts are involved. For the record, we mind. I'd never seen the boy before. He was big, maybe a high schooler. It's hard to know with people. With a tree, I can sense to the month, sometimes to the day, its age. I couldn't tell what he was carving, of course, but I could tell from the determined way he moved that it was meant to hurt. Not me. Somehow, I sensed it wasn't meant to hurt me. It was just his canvas. So a canvas is what you draw or paint on for others to see. So Red is assuming he's carving something into the tree, Red, to show other people. That said, it's not exactly a picnic getting hacked into. Bark is my skin, my protection from the world. Any wound makes it harder to fight off disease and insects. I wanted to yell stop, to say something, anything. But of course I didn't. It's not our way. Trees are meant to listen, to observe, to endure. He was done quickly. He stood back, admired his work, gave a little nod, and left. As he walked away, I saw the tool clutched in his fist, a little screwdriver with a yellow handle. Thin as a twig, bright as a meadowlark. And then you could see Bongo's about to come talk. Chapter 13, our last chapter for today. Bongo was the first to see what had happened to me. She landed on the base of my trunk, head cocked. Dropping the potato chip in her beak, she cried, I leave you alone for a few minutes and look what happens. What on earth? It seems someone mistook me for a pumpkin, I said. When she didn't smile, I added, because I was carved. For the millionth time, Red, explaining doesn't make things any funnier. Bongo flew to my lowest scaffold branch, one of my big primary limbs. She examined my injury. Does it hurt? Not the way an injury might hurt you. Trees are different that way. I gotta do something, Bongo said. There's nothing to be done. You've got a major boo-boo. I want to help. You're the wise old tree. Tell me what to do. Really, Bongo, time heals all wounds. Bongo hates it when I philosophize. She rolled her eyes. At least I think she did. It's hard to tell with crows. Their eyes are like morning blackberries, dark and dewy. I just hope my bark isn't ruined, I said. That's my favorite side. It's not ruined, just decorated. Like those tattoos people get. Bongo nudged me with her beak. Show me who did this. I'll get him. I'll squawk at his window in the middle of the night. I'll dive bomb him and yank out some hair, she flapped. No, better yet, I'll make a deposit on his head. I'll make a deposit on his head every day for a year. I didn't ask what kind of deposit. I was quite sure I knew. So if you think about a deposit is when you put something or drop something into something, birds flying and depositing something on someone's head. Gross. Bongo, dear, I said, that won't be necessary. Bongo shifted from foot to foot, something she did when she was working out a problem. She said, it's almost time for wishing day. Maybe this is some kind of wish. Just a poorly delivered one. Another wishing day, I repeated. It seemed like we just had one. Had a whole year already come and gone? Days have a way of slipping past like raindrops in a river. One more round, Bongo said, of greedy people bugging you with their needs. One more round of hopeful people wishing for better things, I corrected. Wishing day was always a bit hard on me and on my residents. Usually the animals and birds stayed away that day to avoid curious hands and endless photographs. But it was just one day. I understood its history and my role in it. I knew people were full of longings. A mother tugging a toddler along the sidewalk froze in place when she saw my trunk. Mommy, what does that say? Asked her little girl, who was clutching a stuffed toy dog by its bedraggled tail. The mother didn't answer. Mommy. They crossed the lawn. The mother stepped close to me. It says leave, she finally said. Like trees have leaves? You can see. So someone wrote leave on the tree for someone else to see. I didn't mean to rhyme. Gently the mother traced my cuts with her index finger. Maybe, she answered, maybe like that. She looked over at the 2 houses near me. Shaking her head, she tightened her grip on the little girl's hand. Let's hope that's all it means. So if you remember, there was, Samar was the new girl in town. She just moved there. And now someone came and carved leave into a tree in her yard. So basically this boy is telling that family to leave, which is not a nice thing to do. We'll read more tomorrow. We're on chapter 14. And I will send out another video. I wonder what I'll wear. Who knows? It might be another costume. Wishtree.